Welcome back to the Rebel's Edge and sponsored by the Rebel Investors Club. Pete and I are going to be breaking down the market for you today, exactly what's going on and where the fast money is flowing ahead of some earnings of big retail stocks this week. We'll have all that and some sports on today's Rebel's Edge. Well, Pete, how was the weekend?
That was a great weekend. The weather was great. We got a new dog out of nowhere. Actually, it was a anniversary gift from my wife. And our anniversary and her birthday are very, very close to each other. So it's kind of a mixed bag for me coming up in front of me. But no, everything is great. So it was good. How about you?
Good weekend. Yep. Good weekend. Got to spend a little of it out at Piñones, which is an area where they have probably like 50 Puerto Rican restaurants and seafood restaurants all along about a 1.5 mile long stretch, right along the beach and the bay. So it's pretty cool. And second time out there in the past couple weeks. It was great. And all the jet skis start coming in at sunset because they all park them there. And then everybody's just partying. Sunday is Friday night in Puerto Rico, Pete. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, but it is.
Not bad.
Not bad. All right, let's do macro.
Yeah.
I'll say Asian markets higher, European indices kind of bleh, and our indices are mixed. So there really isn't a lot to be discerned from that. I guess we'll talk more when we get some of these retail earnings, Pete, that we'll talk about in just a minute. But yeah, the market's kind of just blah today.
Yeah, Dow getting a little bit of a beaten up today or whatever. The one thing that I was just stumbled across, John, today was that, midterms are historically a time where we've gotten through a lot of the earnings season. I know we're talking about some of them. As a matter of fact, obviously, the retailers is a big week for them. But the reality is we've gotten through a big chunk of the earnings. And the problem is all of a sudden people start focusing on something else, and it might be the midterms. And historically, we're down we pull back about 7%. And if you go all the way out to December, it's about almost an 8%. So just something to keep in the back of your mind if you're maybe feeling a little too overly bullish. And, everybody always has a feeling one way or the other, bullish or bearish. And I would just say, just keep that in the back of the mind, because historically, that's something that has been happening. So we'll be watching for that too.
Caterpillar, among those Dow names, Pete, is the leader there. It's up about 2.6%. The downside pull really seems to be coming from a host of companies, not the least of which is Nike, Pete. They can't get out of their own way. NKE, Nike, is down around $39 right now. So a new 52-week low for Nike. And I remember when they were a high flyer, Pete. And then, they went woke, they got broke or almost broke. I mean, you look at a longer-term chart of this one, it's from the upper left to the lower right in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a $175 stock in 2022. Now, again, it's below 40. That's ugly.
They've been getting their butts handed to them, John, honestly, for quite a while now. But as you were just talking about, but I think the reality is they had so much more competition come into the game that Nike just all of a sudden has fallen off. I mean, that was the one. And you know what? Michael Jordan was a great example of somebody who did a great job for Nike, and still does to this day. But when you really look around and you see all these other different brands and so forth, I think they've just stumbled and they've made a few mistakes along the way. And that's why that chart looks as bad as it does. By the way, as far as the volatility index, John, just looking around at things, we're down about 20% on the VIX over the last month. We did peak out somewhere up there towards 21. We're a little bit closer today. We're sitting there right at 15. And the range today, you want to talk about a tight range, call it 1490 to 1510. I mean, that's the range. And it's up a little bit today. It's up about 5% today. But nonetheless, yeah, we're just kind of coasting along right now. And, you know, the biggest of the big earnings are kind of out of the way. But we do have these retailers in front of us. So that could change things a little bit and maybe even affect the volatility somewhat.
Well, let's talk about prediction markets, Pete. And this one was a headline that I just couldn't forget. And that was Robinhood now generates more revenue from prediction markets than it does from equity trading. So when you look at that chart, look at that. I mean, that green, at least it looks green to me. Maybe it's yellow. I don't know, Pete. I'm colorblind. But I can tell the one line's blue. And they're generating more from the prediction markets in revenue sales than they are from basically being a stockbroker. That's pretty amazing stuff, isn't it?
I think it's just extraordinarily interesting. I mean, you go back to March, in that March 2023, and you look and see it made a little bit of a move, right? It almost doubled, or did double rather. And then all of a sudden it just took off, John. And it really has happened, you know, basically in less than the last year. So amazing trajectory of this thing going to the upside like that. I would never have thought so. But then again, you and I were talking before we came on here. We're like, you know, you can bet on anything with these prediction markets. So that is pretty attractive to a lot of people. And they don't have to know what the earnings were last quarter and the previous quarter. What are they looking for this quarter and all the things that we do in the financial industry. These guys are betting on stuff like, well, you know, is President Trump when's the next time they're going to go over to Iran and maybe bomb them or whatever? And he'd give dates out and you'd bet on that. So it's pretty intriguing, and it doesn't have to take a whole lot of thought other than just, you know what, your gut instinct, right? I mean, that's what it kind of comes down to with a lot of these prediction markets. It's interesting.
Yep, it surely is. And I'll be very fascinated to see if going forward they can keep this up, because that's nearly vertical, Pete, like you said, just in the last little bit here. I mean, in March of this year, it was 109 was their revenue, and now it's 571. I mean, again, I know a lot of our friends in Vegas would love to see that kind of increased betting, Pete.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's talk just a little bit about the event that we're going to be doing out in Vegas with these guys behind me, with Circa. Circa, we are going to be doing RebelCon 2026 out at Circa in Las Vegas, folks. It is a fabulous casino. They are, I think he said, Pete, the third or the fourth biggest tourist attraction in the United States, behind Times Square and Disney. And I can't remember if they were in third or fourth, but it's amazing. Fremont Street, Glitter Gulch, everybody thought it was dead. And then these two brothers moved in there, and not these two brothers, folks. we might be moving in, but
I'll take
Jared Stevens. Yeah, I'll go. Jared Stevens and his brother Greg, they started buying up some of the casinos down there. They bought Fitzgerald's, and then they bought the Golden Gate, and then they built this one. That behind me, folks, is the largest sports book in the world, 3 stories tall, and the screen's nearly as big as the screens in Dallas Cowboys Stadium. That's how big this thing is. And then they've got an outdoor one as well by the swimming pool. But what we're going to be doing is, of course, doing the RebelCon 2026 with a whole bunch of great folks. I mean, Dr. Drew's going to be there. I'm still waiting to get the actual thumbs up from Adam Carolla, but I think he'll be there, Pete. We're going to have a bunch of speakers on everything from quantum and what you got to be aware of to basically crowdfunding and pre-IPOs and trading, of course, because that's what Pete and I are kind of known for. But we'll talk about stock trading, option trading, futures trading. It's going to be a great couple days, folks. And it's deeply discounted until September 10th. So check it out, scan the QR code, and join us out in Vegas for RebelCon 2026. It is October 20th and 21st. But if you care to join us in the outdoor sports book for the Monday night football game, we'll be watching the game out there, and you could join us there for an open bar. Bang.
Bang.
All right. Wait, let's hit what's going on with SanDisk, because SanDisk is up today. And again, before Pete and I came on today, folks, we were talking about, do you know, July 29th, this stock was under $1,100. Today, it's over $1,800. So, wow, in just over 2 weeks, that's an amazing progression. And SanDisk, of course, many people, like unfortunately, a whole bunch of people probably in Korea, Pete, were being liquidated throughout the month of July. And every time they got liquidated, like 2 days later, a bunch of people would come in and say, buy it, buy it, buy it. And then it would zoom to the upside, and then it would crash again, then it would zoom. I mean, it was all back and forth. Nobody could understand why until Goldman told us, well, 500,000 accounts were liquidated. Margin accounts were liquidated. Well, turns out SanDisk obviously was one of their targets to both buy and to be forced out of. And now they are just announcing good news after good news after good news, Pete, including committing to return 100% of excess cash to perfect strangers, shareholders.
Well, I'll tell you, John, when you look at this thing, you know, in data storage, people talk about memory, talk about all these various things. We talk about AI all the time. Strong revenue doesn't even begin to explain this whole thing. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. You talked about that 100% coming back. How about this? $93.9 billion coming from a customer backlog. That's what's sitting there as well. So I would say that this thing, despite the fact that it's gone up as fast as you were talking about, it probably deserves to be, quite honestly. I look at the gross margins. They're 80%. I mean, everywhere you look, you say, wow, the projections going forward all the way to 2028, all the way to 2030. And they still have very strong growth in terms of their revenue is concerned. So there's plenty of different catalysts out there, John, that you could say, well, that's the reason, that's the reason, that's the reason. When you got that many reasons, I think that you're probably positioned pretty damn well. And I think that's where SanDisk stands right now.
Well, how about Anthropic, Pete? This is a stock that is not, repeat, not publicly traded yet, folks. But it's going to be one of the hot IPOs. Is it going to be SpaceX $1.75 trillion when it comes out of the gate? No. But it is going to be a big IPO nonetheless, because it's in the AI space, and everybody talks about Claude. They talk about Gemini. They talk about Grok. They talk about all these different ways that people are using AI, not just to book travel either, folks. So Anthropic's aggressive revenue forecast, that was one of the things that really lit a fire under these AI and tech stocks, Pete, because they projected roughly $200 billion in revenue for 2028. That's a number I don't think very many people saw coming, and that's why the stock, if it was publicly traded right now, would be running. Instead, it's probably just drawing a lot of interest in the pre-IPO crowd, the ones that the Rebels Investor Club will be part of, Pete.
Absolutely. Well, you know, and presently, John, it's 47 billion. So you're talking about 190 to 200 billion dollars. That's the forecast that they're putting up there. I'd say that's pretty impressive. And you talked about this side too, but it's the AI spend. They don't see that slowing. Infrastructure demand continues to be there. So yeah, across the board, John, you look at this name, and it's a popular name to some degree. To anybody who's been excited about the idea that this thing is going to at some point get themselves from that IPO, it's going to be, I would say, pretty well received. And I think that we are looking at, the second half of this year. Maybe people are getting a little bit wiser about trying to fight against AI and using their intelligence still, but trying to figure out, well, where is AI truly going, and and who's doing it, and is the demand there? What we're hearing more and more, and all we got to do is take a look at the last few quarters and what those numbers really look like. This second quarter, John, has been absolutely outrageously good. I mean, again, 86% beats on earnings. Again, you've got 78 to 80% beats on revenues. So, for what everybody's looking for and what they're actually seeing delivered, what they're seeing delivered has been pretty damn impressive. And I think Anthropic is not there public yet, but when they do, I think they will be positioned very, very well.
I agree. And, OpenAI, Anthropic, again, these are basically becoming household words. There's certainly things that traders throw around all the time. Many of us have tried to build or have successfully built AI engines using those exact things.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, Anthropic, Grok, whatever. All right, Pete, let's talk about retail, because the focus is going to turn to these retail signals on how healthy the consumer is. So retail, well, we have the biggest retailer in the world, which is Walmart. They've got earnings this week. That's going to be something people will pay attention to because, again, people like the Fed are going to look at that and say, have people been trading down? Are they not spending as much because prices are up or whatever? Or are they just basically buying everything on the shelves, which would imply they need to increase rates? There's two ways of looking at it. And one of the ways we're going to find out this week is how did the bottom line of those retail sales hit for Walmart, Home Depot, Target, and Lowe's? That's what we're waiting to hear about, Pete.
Yeah, and it's a big, long laundry list too, John. I mean, it's Walmart, it's Home Depot, it's Lowe's, it's Target, it's TJ Maxx, it's Deere, it's Ross stores. I mean, all of them. And I think the interesting ones to look at will be something like a Walmart, because not only just the size, but, is the trade down still there? And I think we'll find out some of those kind of numbers. I can tell you this, as a guy who loves to count cars and do all the crazy stuff that I do when I go out to a mall or even just an individual standalone store, I'll tell you what, the Walmarts in the state of Minnesota, and I've covered a lot of this state because I'm always moving somewhere, it seems like, or meeting up with somebody somewhere. I'll tell you, John, I mean, it's always packed. I mean, Walmart just seems to be packed every single day. So it's interesting, and we'll see how that plays out. Home Depot, did they have a good spring? It's been really a rough weather year. So does that mean good or bad for Home Depot and for Lowe's? And I think we'll get those answers pretty soon. I can tell you this, I've had to buy a whole lot more of different things to be able to keep my lawn up and do all the things that I want to do, and spending money and transplanting things and actually going out and buying. I'll tell you what, that is a part of Walmart that they really are impressive. I mean, really, really impressive with what they've got on the home and garden side of it as well. So, yeah, I mean, the resilience, we're going to find out about that. What is it really for the retailers? Are they able to bounce up, or are they not? Are they, all those questions are going to be answered over the next couple of days, because they really start to kick off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah, the gasoline prices. Has that crimped them, or is it relatively small? Because quite frankly, Pete, gasoline prices down here on the island are down dramatically. And we don't refine it here or anything. Everything's shipped in here. We don't have an oil source here. So we're a little bit like, I suppose, China in terms of all the energy that we need to move these cars, except for electricity. It's coming from fossil fuels, and the prices are down dramatically.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Still higher than they were before the war, but they're back down. They're probably in the neighborhood, if I put it into gallon terms, Pete, they're down 80 cents a gallon already from the peak. And they're still, they're still 60 cents higher per gallon than they were before the war. So we'll see. It's coming down, though. That's the right move. All right, Pete. Well, let's finish up with Vista Energy. Vista Energy, VIST, is an oil and gas producer, and they have hit upon a shale oil find in Argentina that has some people focused on it, and one of those people is one of the best investors that you could have, and that person is Peter Thiel. So Peter Thiel His Macro LLC owns roughly 1.2 million of these shares, Pete. It's about 1% of the company. But this is a big position for him. And it's in a shale oil down in Argentina, like I say. So it's interesting that Peter Thiel is going after fossil fuel, Pete, because he probably figures, hey, with the war pushing prices up, like we just talked about with Puerto Rico, it's pushing more development down in Argentina, Mexico, and Brazil as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, John, for sure. There's no doubt about that. It's up, what, 5% or something like that today? So not such a bad move. Like you said, Peter Thiel is, 1%, I think, of the company. But, you look at that, actually, is from what I read anyway, I think that's his second largest holding that he's got behind Amazon. Yep. So that's interesting. I think these guys have got some very, very important partnerships as well. So anyway, I look at the company. It looks pretty interesting, and obviously, energy. Each and every day, that's probably the most volatile sector outside of maybe technology. But I think energy's been bouncing around just as much as we're seeing as far as the tech companies itself. But you know what? When Peter Thiel goes somewhere, you usually kind of want to be there with him, John. So yeah. I would say this has become a lot more interesting company to me now that he's decided to make this move.
Well, let's throw it into sports mode then, Pete, because we had some interesting sports stuff happening this weekend. And we also had a great story about a guy who was the hero of the Stanley Cup. And so let's give it a look and a listen. This goalie that all of a sudden goes from GOAT to GOAT.
Bussy is the greatest story in sports right now. The undrafted journeyman and former Chipotle worker just won the Canes the Stanley Cup with a shutout in Game 6. He played college hockey at Western Michigan, where he worked at Chipotle in the summertime, but then went undrafted by the NHL and signed with the Boston Bruins as an undrafted free agent. But spent years in their system, never made his NHL debut this past offseason, then signed with the Florida Panthers. A couple months later, gets put back on waivers. Then right before the season, signs with the Carolina Hurricanes, where in their third game of the season, he'd finally make his NHL debut, filling in for injury, where they'd win the game 5-1. Go on to have a monster rookie year, starting 39 games and winning 31 of them, to the point in February they signed him to an extension, but come playoff time, they went back to the veteran goalkeeper Freddie Anderson, who got hot as they steamrolled through the East. But in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, after starting down 4-0 to Vegas and a possible injury to Anderson, they insert Bussy back into the lineup, and they'd go on to win Games 4, 5, and 6 to take the cup back to Raleigh, and that Game 6 shutout was his Mona Lisa. It was his first career shutout, and just the 9th ever in a clinching Stanley Cup Finals game. And even cooler is that he became the first goalie ever to make your first 3 career playoff starts all in the Stanley Cup Finals and win all 3. Not bad for a guy who made his NHL debut earlier this season at age 27. Brandon Bussy is the greatest story in sports.
Imagine that, Pete. So he doesn't basically, he gets the big contract, but the other guy, Anderson, takes over.
Yeah.
And then when Anderson struggles a little bit, all of a sudden they throw him back in there and he gets the hot hand. And if you have a hot goalie in the NHL playoffs, you can go all the way. And
yeah,
we've seen it happen time and time again.
Well, we're covering all the biggies, John, because we got hockey here, and now we got to go to what I think is also, and in this case, it actually is the story of the day, because that story's already been out there, but a lot of people probably didn't know that, and I'm one of them. But that's a great storyline. But Major League Baseball. Baseball's been around for a hell of a long time, right? I mean, so I think when you break certain records specifically, and records that are just absolutely, almost mind-boggling is what this one is. It's incredible to me. I'm looking at this Joshua, Baez, John. I mean, everything about it is just amazing. He comes up, he's in the major leagues. It's his rookie year. It's his first game ever at bat. And he gets up there, and he doesn't hit just the very first pitch for a home run, but he hits the first time he gets up to the plate, he hits a home run. The second time he gets up to the plate, he hits a home run. The third time he gets up to the plate, he hits a home run. I mean, you can't draw that up. I mean, this is out of a movie, and at the movie, you'd go to you'd be walking to your car afterwards going, it's just not realistic. That doesn't happen. Well, you're right about that. It doesn't happen till it did. And it did this past weekend. He did it on the very first pitch for the first home run. He hit the second one 382 feet. He hit the third one 368 feet. And that was in the sixth inning, John. He ended up 3 for 4 out there, 5 RBIs, 3 runs. I mean, you're looking at, oh, by the way, he hit one of the home runs to left field, one of the home runs to right field, and one of them right down the center of the field. I mean, So the guy did it all. And it's just absolutely amazing. But first, I'll shoot to you. What do you think about this one? But I've got something not even comparable, but I'll try to compare it a little bit from the NFL sport. But what do you think of this craziness? I mean, 3 for 4, 5 RBIs, 3 runs, not such a bad deal for your first game ever in MLB.
Right. Joshua Baez, that ball, they probably saved that. If they could get any of those balls, Pete, hopefully they gave it to him, the first home run. But man, the fact that he hit 3 of them in his debut game, Dominican-American professional baseball outfielder for the Cardinals. I mean, just an incredible performance. And you got to love it. You absolutely have to love it. And it's why people love going out to those games.
Yeah.
Because here's a guy that gets called up. He steps in there and, sort of like the guy did for the Yankees a couple weeks ago. This guy knocks the homers out of the park. And people are just like, oh, my gosh. And I loved it. I'm all about it. I loved watching it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So here's the closest comparison I can find. And let's be honest, it's not really a comparison, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Cam Newton, his first game ever as a starting quarterback at September 11th of 2011. He was 24 of 37, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Oh, and 422 yards passing. I mean, that ain't so bad. And he had 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing, 1 rushing, like I said, against the Cardinals. But even that, that pales in comparison, really. But I mean, that's the closest thing that I could find. I was just looking around going, well, what's the greatest thing we've seen as a rookie, in the NFL? I don't think there is anything quite like that. I mean, I can't imagine what it is. I mean, that's just ridiculous, right?
Yep, it is. It is. 3 home runs in the first 3 at bats, and then you go 3 for 4. Go figure.
All right, so you and I had some fun not too terribly long ago in Las Vegas, where we got a great opportunity to meet up with Derek Stevens and his brother. Well, not his brother, but Derek Stevens, and talking about maybe doing a deal. And there it is in the background. Exactly right. I mean, and that pool setup is unbelievable. So for the people who sign up and want to go there, you might want to show up Monday, because I got to tell you something, that outdoor area with the pools and the screens and everything. I mean, you and I got a chance to watch all the great soccer games that were going on, or, football, I guess you could say, or whatever you want to call it. But,
World Cup.
Yeah, we had a great time, though. That was phenomenal. And they had all these things up there. They got the stock market. I mean, they got so much going on. It's unbelievable. But one of the things we did, even while we were out there, and we were pretty busy, was we went over to the SAC Summit. And who did we see when we were over there? Von Miller. And, we got a chance to see what, I think there were 80 different guys there that are edge rushers in either the NFL or college football. And some of the guys obviously were leading the charge. Von Miller was one of them. 37 years old. He plays about a third of the game this past year or whatever when he was playing. And yet the guy had 9 sacks with Washington. Now, that's a damn good number for a guy. I mean, for how many snaps that he actually took, that he had 9 sacks, that's pretty amazing, which is why he was part of the SAC Summit that was going on. But Johnny just signed with the Cowboys. So I would say that our friend, more your friend even than me, because you've known her longer, but the woman who represents him must be pretty happy, because I didn't even see how much it was, but it's Jerry Jones. It's the Cowboys. They need somebody who can get a little pressure on quarterbacks. And I think it's pretty great, because I think Von Miller really did want this one more year. Maybe he wants more than that, but he definitely wanted to be somewhere this year. And he stayed. You and I saw him. The guy's in great shape. Holy smokes.
Yeah. And that anybody on the line and or linebackers, is going to take a lot of abuse over the course of an NFL career. And he's had a 16-year NFL career, Pete. So like you say, 37-year-old edge rusher, there aren't a lot of those. I think he's the only one. And this time, he's signing in the $1.3 million range, which is probably damn near the minimum, Pete.
Yeah.
But since Kristen Kaliga, our friend, signed him up as one of her clients, I think he's done over $200 million.
That's
and he's the NFL's active sack leader with 138.5. Now, that's not to take anything away from Myles Garrett. Myles just hasn't played as long.
Right.
But Myles Garrett might have a thing or two to say about that 138 total sacks when Myles Garrett is in his mid-30s, Pete. But both of these guys, great talents, super nice guy, Von Miller is. And I think he writes poetry too, Pete, or something like that. I mean, he is a Renaissance man. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these guys, some of them, they just surprise you. And, you know, last week on Thursday, after we did the show here, I had so much fun. I was with the Gopher football. I was with the Viking football during the day. I had some meetings going on with some of those guys. They just want to ask questions about certain things, you know, possibly, but I can't really talk about what it was. But anyway, I got to tell you, John, those edge rushers and that Caleb Banks that they were able to get in the first round for the Minnesota Vikings, he is the largest human from the waist down. I mean, the guy's legs are as big as my chest. I mean, I've never seen a guy built quite the way he's built, which if you're an offensive lineman, you don't want to see that guy coming on the other side of you at 6'7", 340 pounds. I mean, you know, you're looking at him going, I'm going to need some help from my guard or my tackle or whatever, because if you decide you're going to go one-on-one with him and then the other side has another guy, Big Citrus is his nickname, and Big Citrus is 6'5" and 330. The Vikings kind of finally figured out that in the middle, if you've got some big thumpers like the Philadelphia Eagles have, and you're going to have a really good set of linebackers running around behind them because they aren't going to get hit very often. So those guys were pretty special to see. And PJ and those guys over at the University of Minnesota, there's a lot of talent over there, John. Everybody's talking about the quarterback. That quarterback's the most first-class kid I've ever come across. He's only a junior or a sophomore, I think. He had a redshirt year. So he comes walking over just to say hello, shake my hand, and tell me he's interested in our world that we're in. And, you know, I'm like, hey, man, just stay where you are for a while. You'll make a lot of money here, and then you can worry about that.
That's right.
But he's right now considered a potential first-round draft pick quarterback. So, you know, they've got a lot of pieces to the puzzle this year for the Gophers, and it was nice to talk to the team and talk to the guys and the coaches and everybody else. Really a good time.
Well, fabulous, Pete. Can't wait to hear more.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you want to come out to Circa, again, that's the sports book behind me. But if you'd like to join us out there, and of course, everybody gets to be a member of the Rebel Investors Club who comes on out, by all means, click the QR code that Jared will put up there and join us in Las Vegas, the 20th and 21st of October. Plenty of time to plan for it. We hope we see you out there. It's going to be fabulous. And Pete and I will be back tomorrow at what time?
1 p.m. Eastern, John. We'll see you then. Giddy up.
Bang.